Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 580. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinsod,
Oh, ahoy.
and Tony Korkanakis.
Yo, yo, yo.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to 580 of the Gamecast. It is a little filler episode because we'd like to do our podcast together. So we actually get to do a regular episode here. I wouldn't call it filler; it's a regular episode. But we're not doing it in like any anticipated list. We've already done our games of the year, so please check that video out. That's on Twitch still. It's also on YouTube, and it's streaming. So check those out, guys. Seriously, we had a lot of fun talking about that stuff, and we also did TV shows today. So check out the TV shows list. Anticipated is still coming up. I meant to mention that in the movie cast. If you're watching this now, just look for Anticipated. That's coming up soon. And a very rare opportunity for us. We all played Guardians of the Galaxy, so we're going to do a bonus round for Guardians of the Galaxy. So check for that next week. I would assume we're doing it next week. Guys, so yeah, what we've been up to, essentially, I'll kick us off with Guardians of the Galaxy. I just finished it last week. Buggy game. Like, I can't even argue with you guys. I was arguing when you first brought that up. I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's fine. I seriously didn't have any bugs until like the last probably third of the game, I would say. Then it got super buggy for me. Like to the point where I had to restart checkpoints. Like you said, Tony, like at least there are, tons of checkpoints. Yeah.
If their checkpoint system was garbage, I would not have played this game. I straight up would have been like, nah, fuck this. There
was a point in this game where I got so good at the combat, and I didn't play it on easy. I kept it on normal, and I just got really good at the combat to the point where I was like blowing up enemies with different attacks. And I'm on this platform on the space station, and I'm like on nowhere, and I'm like, where the combat's not ending, and my experience bar is going down. I'm like, combat's not over, and there's nobody there. Like, there's nobody on the stage. And I'm like, what the hell? So I ended up looking up in the sky, and way out in outer space was like a stack of enemies. They were stacked on top of each other. And I had to start picking them off one by one. And they just they were still there. So eventually I was like, I can't kill them. So I had to reload the checkpoint. So that was one of my worst glitches I had. But, overall it was a great game. We're going to have, like I said, the bonus round on this. So I won't talk too much on it, but I really enjoyed this game quite a bit. I'm happy it's on my list. It deserves to be some recognition because I can't wait to see what they do with these sequel for this. I will say that I wish I had played more of, but I didn't yet, Lost Judgment. So I have started that. I was not aware, this is stupid, by the way, at Microsoft, if you're listening. When you go to install a game, I shut the system off. Like, I just hit the turn off console thing, and it's supposed to go to sleep. It doesn't continue to install. It like stopped everything. So I was like, what the hell? It should continue to install in the background, and it shut down.
Why would it do that if you're pausing everything, Jim?
Because I still want to. I don't want to have the system on while I'm watching TV.
Yeah, but you're basically when you put it to sleep, you're basically freezing everything. It's not like it's going to continue to do. But it can do that for digital games. It can load your digital games while it's off. It does it. Okay, but the disk drive is not running.
Come on, I understand that, but if you're trying to install something, it's in the middle of installation, it's not going to finish before it shuts that off? Come on. It's a simple program. It's a simple power setting. So I got to play a little bit of it. I took a picture. I did a follow mode, watched the cutscene. That's about it so far, so I'll get into it, but... how long is that game, Mike? Like,
the main story, it'll take you some time.
Yeah. Well, I'm playing it. I'm actually not even. I'm gonna play it to experience it. I'm playing on easy, so I'm just gonna experience the game.
It's a game. I don't know. It's never hard, but yeah.
So that's really it for me. Tony, what have you been playing?
Guardians of the Galaxy as well. I wound up finishing it last night. I think I binged it this weekend. I played the first third a couple weeks ago just to make sure I played it.
And I got to recognize Tony here because listeners and viewers, he did this so we could do our bonus round. That was the principal drive so we could actually all finish the game. I mean, it wasn't a bad game. Don't get me wrong.
No, it wasn't a bad game.
You pushed yourself to do it.
Yeah, because it's fun. I was enjoying it. The story was very good, I thought, and It was, for the most part, well paced. I think it fell. I don't say a lot of in-depth discussion for our spoiler cast on it, but it fell into the AAA tropes where it's like, okay, I got to crawl through this narrow space so some characters can, they load the game and you can, have some dialogue between the characters and stuff like that. And whoever was a lead designer loved fucking slides as a kid because it seemed like every 5 minutes it's like a new slide. I was like, I get it. Sliding is fun, but at the same time, it's like, why does everything have a slide in it? It's weird.
We don't want you going backwards.
It's like I guess it's more fun than an elevator or a zip line. I don't know, but I was just like, really another slide, and stuff like that. But it was very well written. I loved a big fake out at the end where like I was like that seemed somewhat anticlimactic here. I was like, all right, just watching it, and just put down my controls.
Got to fight the monster.
Exactly. Stuff like that. But yeah, it was a really good game. Definitely did not see years ago when they announced this, because it was like, we're doing Avengers, guys, and it's like, oh, by the way, we're also doing Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I never thought in my wildest dreams like this would be the one that's like, oh, this is a really fun, really good winner. Because it should not be that way at all. It shouldn't. But here we are. I'm really excited to see what they can do for a sequel. My biggest thing, aside from the bugs, because the first big boss literally glitched on me where I couldn't damage it, and I thought I was doing something wrong. I was like, what am I missing here? I was like, am I just not timing it correctly, or like what? And like I paused the game, I read through a couple websites, they're like, oh, it's so easy, you do this. I'm just like, no, I'm doing this. So I was like, hold on. I was like, I remember Corey had mentioned something, and I was like, let me just reload the checkpoint. And then lo and behold, the fucking monster basically melts instantly. The boss just melts instantly. I'm like, how does this happen? Like, what parameter got mixed up where it's like, oh, this boss is going to be invincible? I was so mad at that. So aside from the bugs, I would just say I would love to see some improvements to the combat and maybe a bit more enemy variety, because like towards like the ice planet, like when the one thing showed up, I'm like, dude, you're just a reskin model. Like I could tell. Come on, like. They even joke about it. They even joke about it in-game, which I appreciate.
Yeah, there's some in-game reasons for some repeats. Yep.
Yeah, they do joke about it. But,
I appreciate it.
There was a point, like, I had maxed out all my abilities, and, like, I was still not even close to the ending yet, and there was still more, like, pick-up stuff, so I'm like, did I miss something? Is there more to get later? So I was picking those things up, and at the end of the game, I'm like, I wasted my time going to get those materials, because I'm like, I didn't need them. I had, like, a few thousand materials sitting in there that I never used because I was fully leveled up. So...
That's something I would sort of do. They have like this like faux RPG stuff, but everyone just sort of, it's either you have it or you don't, and it's all one thing. There's no real choice involved with it at all. So I kind of wish there was a little more variety to that in this game, and maybe they'll do that in the next one. Do a full Mass Effect thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So anything else, Tony?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right, Mike.
I'm not sure when we last talked about what we played, honestly. Yeah. As you know, I've been burning through stuff when I got the PlayStation 5. I'm sure I mentioned I played that game, obviously. Miles Morales I went through as well, which I really liked. And then, Deathloop, which I mentioned a bit on the of the Year podcast. Not terribly positively, but I did play through it, and like I said, I like it, but it also was just too tedious in certain parts. And after that, though, we've been playing It Takes Two. Me and Ashley have been playing that because she saw something about it, and we decided to start playing it together. Obviously, this game, it won the Game Awards Game of the Year, and also it requires two players. You can't play it alone. And I can see why, like, some people, really love this game, or why it won Game of the Year. There's so many different things that happen. Like, everything is a different mechanic. Like, it's just mechanic after mechanic. You're like, there's platforming, but then there's like, it turns into a shooter or a fighting game or a puzzle, and it just goes one thing to the other. And then there's a bunch of mini games as well. They do sort of like switch roles on you. Like, so I'm naturally playing as the guy, and she's playing as the girl, but most of the more actiony stuff is required out of the girl. So sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe we should have done this the other way, because she obviously isn't as experienced in gaming as me, and a lot of the times I have to like. There's been 2 times where I've had to borrow the controller from her to do something, but
yeah,
that's it. But the idea is you work together. And the story is interesting, where basically you're a couple that's divorcing that gets transported into some magical world where they are being basically forced to try to not divorce. I'm not sure if that's really how it's going to go, but that's the premise at least. And it's weird, but it's interesting. Some of the environments are actually very cool to see and interesting. So there's Toy Story vibes, but you get like your all different like interesting places, and it's very imaginative. But it takes 2, and you gotta cooperate, and it can get frustrating. Yeah. It's interesting, but it puts you in that space a little bit, which is funny. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, we both need to sit down and play, which is a little hard to do at this point, but we do it here and there. And we'll see how it goes going forward. I'm curious to see what I think by the end of it, but I definitely can see some of its merits that everyone talked about. So it's been a trip, and we'll keep going with it.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Corey, what have you been playing?
Mostly just Destiny when I get a chance.
Yeah. That's it?
Nope.
All right.
Pretty much at this time, yeah.
Let's get into, I have a couple bits of news here. Just to follow up, we had a little bonus round last week of the Microsoft purchase for Activision Blizzard. So just some more follow-up stuff going on for that. Looks like it's not going through, I don't know if we mentioned this last week, till 2023 June. Kotick will be stepping down, which I think we mentioned. But there is a couple things we mentioned. There was a couple things we were wondering how they would work. Phil Spencer actually apparently tweeted out earlier that he had a conversation with Sony, and they do value their partnership. For now, Call of Duty will remain on multi-platform. I say for now because I don't buy it. This is all jargon for the purchase, obviously. Until it goes through, they can't really say much. But I just don't see them keeping Call of Duty on multi-plat. And that's me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do they keep it on PlayStation?
I don't think they don't. I think they have to keep it out multiplayer.
No,
I think
they don't have to, but I think they do.
Call of Duty is absolutely like not a core gaming franchise.
On the table.
It's a general public franchise, so they're not going to like limit it to any level of exclusivity. I don't think. I think it's always going to be available on PlayStation.
I would make
game as well.
I would make a prediction that by 2025 it's exclusive to Microsoft.
I don't
see
that happening.
I'll take the opposite. Call of Duty is bigger than anything. If Microsoft were to take it exclusive, there would actually be more negative press against them, and that would that would be like anti everything they've been saying about like they want people to play together, blah blah blah. Like I'm not saying it's 0%. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely, and if they do that,
it's more likely they're going to do cross-play. I don't even know if cross-play is a thing on Call of Duty, but you just have everybody.
I'm sure they'll leverage it too. I'm sure they'll be like you got to let us cross-play, like no bullshit. Like if that's what you want, they can now strong arm that, which is unfortunate.
I mean, the good thing is they're going to be using that. They won't be exclusive for PlayStation. Everything will come out, and I don't know. I feel like they did this with Bethesda. Like they said, it'll stay. There won't be. Games on that system will be still coming out, and then they have basically made their games exclusive to Xbox now going forward, like the new stuff. And I just feel like that might happen. I don't know if that might happen or not. I don't know.
It's a different type of thing.
Yeah, it's a bigger game. I get it. So, in another interview, I thought this was fun. Another interview, Phil Spencer mentioned the fact that he's looking at reviving some old IPs. One of those including Hexen, which I thought was hilarious when Buddha mentioned that on our Discord channel.
Mm-hmm.
But StarCraft. Do we get StarCraft Ghost? Can we please get Ghost?
No.
Just release it. Just release it. Find its code. Release it. But I think it's interesting. There is a lot of. We mentioned on the bonus round that there's a lot of unknowns and scariness to go around, and we've talked about this on Discord as well with people's jobs. We don't know what kind of merging and downsizing they will have in certain areas, and redundancies, right? Is that the word they use?
Yeah.
So we don't know what that's going to look like, and I hope that it works out well with the industry with that. And I don't know. More than likely, it's not going to, and I understand that myself. But I am also optimistic and excited for what they can do with these IPs that Activision was shutting down and not producing anymore.
Sure, just like all those other Microsoft IPs.
And that being said, yes, you have a point, and I can't take that. You're absolutely right. I'm hoping that by in a year or two, we can laugh about the fact that they didn't have any good IPs out there, because there's a lot in production. I mean, COVID actually has hurt the industry with that, so hopefully that's what's causing the delay on these IPs, because they own so many IPs now. But we'll see. This doesn't go through until next summer, so don't look for any big stuff until then, and we'll see. So, all right. What else do we have?
Well, speaking of Blizzard.
Yes, Blizzard. Yeah. So this was interesting. Is Schreier tweeted this out. This came out today. New stuff.
Blizzard announced something. They announced an entitled IP survival game, and this is right out of the Activision Blizzard playbook. There's bad press. There's stuff they don't want being talked about. Announce something or show something on Overwatch 2. Call of Duty trailer, whatever.
Wipe the glass. Just wipe it.
It's just like it. It's like, pay attention over here, guys. Look over here. New IP. We're not even gonna call it anything. It's a genre. It's a survival game.
Jingling your
keys.
Look.
Yeah. It's like, don't look over there at the fire. Look over here.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it is typical fashion that they have that, but they are developing a new IP which showcases a potential change in marketing, how it's difficult. Interesting. So we'll see. But I did forget to put the other news on here about Respawn. Oh no, I didn't. I did. Respawn announced that they're making three Star Wars games today. One of those being obviously Fallen Order 2. Another one being a game by the XCOM crew, which is awesome and I'm hoping is awesome. That could be really cool. And I don't forget what the third game was. Survival game, I think, or something like that. But all Star Wars games. 3 Star Wars games. So, but hey, Fallen Order 2 is big. We knew they were making that, but I'm happy to hear that they're. Hopefully, we'll see that this year.
Hopefully, depends on COVID.
Yeah. So, it was a great game, and again, that's a Dark Souls game that I love because of Star Wars. So, and I got through it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Did you see the tweet for Elden Ring?
I went gold.
Yeah, they also said that it might be a little bit more accessible for me.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, the third Star Wars game is a first-person shooter.
Oh, first-person shooter. Okay, thank you. Shadows of the Empire 2?
Shadows of the Empire?
No.
That was sometimes first-person.
Okay, so... yeah, so we had that, and what did I just mention? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he mentioned Elden Ring was like, not that there's an easy mode, but that there's, I read it like it's not as hard as previous games.
Okay.
So, whatever that means. That's what I read. So, and then I would like to mention on the last bit of news we have is the Toshihiro Nagoshi left Sega to start his own company. So his NetEase studio has been announced. This is the Yakuza creator, making his own studio now where he has more creative freedoms. It sounds a lot like Metal Gear Solid and Jesus Christ, why am I blanking on Kojima's name? I'm blanking on Kojima's name. So it just sounds so much like that in terms of what he was doing. Maybe Sega was kind of forcing stuff to be done, like just get it done, get it out, and he wanted to have something more freedoms, right?
Well, there's definitely a machine behind the Yakuza games. Like, you can tell they reuse lots of assets.
Yeah.
The music, it's like an in-joke, sort of like the same like handful of songs that play in the background of any like, non-spoken dialogue, and even some bigger songs as well. Not even songs really, there's no words, but so yeah, and they pump content out at a pretty quick rate. So
yeah, they do.
It's definitely a machine that churns out similar-ish content over and over, and I can see if he was there at the very beginning of Yakuza, which was like 2006 or 7, yeah, I can see him burnt out. But
well, I mean, he was a creative director, so
yeah. So I don't know. So he wants to do something else, but it does worry me a little bit.
It was a weird comment because he says it like, he didn't have almost full control of what Sega's output was for the past decade or so, and I totally get placing importance on a new IP that they think they can expand and be more successful outside of Japan, and it obviously worked, but the question I had was at what cost, because every other Sega IP has kind of suffered or languished in the meantime. I'm sure there's a lot more to play, with Sega executives and stuff like that, but it's just weird. It's like, but bro, you could have been making anything you wanted.
Yeah.
You could have been making anything you wanted. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like you could approve a new Yakuza and not be doing it yourself. You could just let the team do it and do something else.
Well, maybe I'm saying maybe this is like a Kojima situation where it was like, I mean, it's his baby, so he kind of like doesn't want to leave it hands off, but the studio's like, we're gonna do it anyways, so he kind of just does it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm feeling like was happening.
Yeah.
He could have just approved it. You're right.
Was he the one who, by the way, like one of the reasons why Kiryu won't end up in a fighting game is he doesn't want him to ever hit a girl, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I didn't even.
I think this is the same guy. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's his baby, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. All right. And that's pretty much it for the news this week. There's been a ton of stuff beforehand. What's that?
Was formed.
Oh, the unionization of what was it? What studio was that?
Raven,
right? Yeah, Raven.
Yeah.
So we have our first union in gaming, essentially, right? So it was officially done. It's successful. A small group, Raven Studios, actually got together and unionized, which is good progress in the market. It's small, but baby steps, right? You have to start somewhere.
When Microsoft takes over.
No.
Those guys you're out. They're just gonna be like, we'll get somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna. Again, that's back to I don't know how it's gonna work. But because I feel like there's gonna be more unions. There has to be. Just in general, forget the Microsoft purchase of Activision. Just in general, there has to be more. Because of the rights of these.
When do you? No one's going to know this, but I'm wondering when the like Screen Actors Guild or the Writers Guild all came together. Like, how long did it take for that to be? It's required pretty much to work in that industry, and that industry, like what started in like the 20s or 30s maybe, like, and here we are, like I don't know what, like 40 years on in video games, and we haven't had any real unions yet. When is it going to get to the point where it's almost required to work in the industry? Like, how is that going to ever come about? Could it? Should it? What do you?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I do think it gets that way. I do think we get there because, again, you're talking about how long ago, like, was that?
And, right. Oh, sorry. But I'm saying, like, for an industry that loves at the AAA level emulating Hollywood, right or wrong, good or bad, whatever you want to say. Like, it just boggles my mind that like they want to emulate all this other stuff, and it's like, why don't you do unionization? Like, why aren't you pushing for this? Why aren't you screaming for this every day of every week of every year, right? Of every month of every year? Because like, and I think we're finally gonna see it. We're finally gonna see it. This Activision Blizzard thing just started that spark, and hopefully this whole buyout thing doesn't die out.
Deter it. Yeah.
The biggest issue, though, like like, this is a great first step, obviously we said, but you need to have more people, coming in and stepping up and taking charge here to do something like this, because the whole big corporation thing we talked about, like Microsoft and Activision, EA, and like a lot of the stuff they do is just contracting this shit out.
Yeah, Microsoft's policy for contracting workers has to stop. Like, that's just 2 years max.
That's where So we'll see. It's gonna be interesting to see, like we talked about in 2023, what this will look like.
Yeah, it will be. I hope things work out well with it. I hope, like you said, I hope it doesn't deter it. I hope we get more progress with this, because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are for this, and it's just, like Mike said, it exists in the movie industry too forever, and like I feel like as a protection to their employees, and that's what it's for this kind of an industry. Are unions necessary everywhere? No, but there's a purpose for unions. Like, this is one of them. There is a purpose out there, so that's why they exist. So yeah, but all right, that's gonna wrap up. What are we on? 580 of the Gamecast. So guys, we're gonna see you guys next week. We have bonus round content anticipated of 2022 coming up as well. Please be sure to check in on that. Other than that, we're on Twitch, streaming 8 o'clock Tuesday nights. Please tune in. We're live on there. We appreciate it, guys. We will see you soon. We're out.